Yes, this was the last time a FIFA World Cup was held. And this was the last time a match was played. It was when France won the World Cup in 2018. But let's get into the preview of today's match, which is Qatar versus Ecuador. The World Cup is finally back after 4 years, and the first match that we get to see is Qatar versus Ecuador. Qatar will be playing their first ever World Cup and will be the host nation this time around. So let's get into the preview of today's match. Well, Qatar seem a very strong team. I've seen a lot of them in the qualifiers and they've really overperformed against Asian teams. But will we get to see Qatar overperforming against such strong team like Ecuador, which has played in the South American division and has scored many points, because it's not been an easy journey for Ecuador. Ecuador have had to surpass teams like Chile, Colombia, etc. and have then qualified for the World Cup. I think they had qualified 4th if I'm not mistaken. And this Ecuador team is filled with a few stars who have played in the top leagues. For example, Moises Caicedo, who plays for Brighton. He's been a revelation for Brighton so far this season. And another player who's going to be a key player in tomorrow's match has to be Enner Valencia, the striker from Colombia, who's been in red-hot form. Whereas on the other hand, Qatar have one stat which makes me feel very confused of who to back in this match, because there's a very important fact to take into account, and that is that the team that has hosted the World Cup in their first ever match in that World Cup hasn't lost. For instance, if we take South Korea in 2002, they won their game. In 2006, Germany also won their game. In 2010, South Africa drew their game. In 2014, Brazil thumped Croatia. And in the last World Cup in 2018, Russia also thumped Saudi Arabia 4-0. And that's the dynamic I feel on which this whole match will rest on. And that's whether, Qatar will be able to hold back Ecuador, because this Ecuador team is going to have the ball. I have no doubts about it. Qatar isn't that well equipped, but they have one player, Hassan Al-Heidos, and he's going to be the key player for Qatar. If Qatar want to win this game, he has to really perform for Qatar. Because if I look at other players and other positions around the pitch, I don't see any player who's going to catch everybody's attention. It's not going to be like that. And that's the whole dynamic around which the match will revolve. I see Ecuador having the ball, and I see Qatar playing second fiddle. Qatar probably counter pressing and hitting Ecuador on the counter attack. But Qatar also have one more thing, and that's that they're going to have the home fans cheering for them. This is their first ever World Cup, let's not forget, and the first World Cup for any nation is very special. And I can see an upset coming. I don't feel that Qatar are going to win this game. If they need to win this game, then Hassan Al-Heidos needs to have an absolute blinder. But let's get to my predictions. Well, this game is going to be a very tight game. And the only reason that makes me back Qatar is probably the home fans. And that's that which I've said, is that no team has ever lost a World Cup opening match ever. And hence, I have to go with a scoreline of Ecuador 2 and Qatar 2. And I can see players such as Enner Valencia as well as Hassan Al-Heidos getting onto the score sheet. And let's just enjoy the match tomorrow, because it's going to be the World Cup back after 4 years, guys. The last time we saw a team play in the World Cup, and the last match that we've seen in the World Cup is France versus Croatia, and that was 4 years ago. And let's just enjoy what we have to see tomorrow. And if you want to see my video on who I feel can win the World Cup, it'll be down in the description box. So thank you.